Warning, I swear a lot.
It is 12:07 in the PM and you're watching The Foreman. I'm your host, Foreman, and today I want to talk about something very, very special. But before I begin, some context, perhaps, for what happened this week. Earlier this week, I was just sat here at my desk and I was editing Bloodborne, and I like editing Bloodborne. It's actually fun to edit because Bloodborne's a cool game and I really enjoy playing it. And I got a message, actually, first of all, Sweetman video called me, and I was like, oh fuck, people don't call me very often because I hate phone calls. I always do Messenger. So I picked up my phone, and his face showed up on my phone. He was like, Foreman, and I was like, yes, and then it died because my phone had no battery. So I was like, shit, and I jammed the charger in and charged my phone, and it came back up. And Sweetman was like, bruv, I'm literally coming right past your house right now. You know, do you want to come out for a smoke? I've got a little gift for you. And I was like, dope, yeah, I like seeing Sweetman, you know, smoke, have a chat, he's my friend, yeah. So I rolled he and I each cigarettes, and I went downstairs, and I went outside, and he was at my front door, and he was like, Foreman, come see this. And he put his arm around my shoulder, and led me to his car. And I'd like to point out, this was at about half 6 p.m. in Britain in winter, so it's pitch black outside. So if it was anyone but Sweetman, this would have been a sketchy event. But I trust Sweetman wholeheartedly. Like, I would literally trust him with my life, so I wasn't worried in any way. But he leads me over to his car, and I'm like, okay. And then, as we get to the car, a mysterious figure whom I hadn't seen because they were hiding and it was dark, runs up and hugs me from behind, and I'm like, huh? What's happening? What's going on? And the hug lasted for about 30 seconds, which made it very awkward, by the way, but this was intentional. It was intentional. I was just sitting there like, who the fuck is this? I tried to look around to see. I couldn't see their face, and Sweetman was just stood there smiling. And eventually they let go, and I turned around to look at them, and it took me a second to like see their face because it was dark, but it was my friend Dan, who I've known for upwards of 10 years. Like, he and I were friends in school, became really good friends in college, and then have been friends consistently ever since. And I flipped my shit, and we had a big hug, and it was really nice because I didn't know he was coming down. He didn't say anything to me. And Sweetman was like, yeah, man, look, we're just gonna go do this thing, and then we're gonna go back to mine and play games and drink. Do you want to come? And he was like, I know you're busy because you're making videos all the time, but, you know, do you want to come? And I was like, of course I do. This is one of the few things in which I would actually sacrifice my obligation to put up videos and give myself the night off, because it was a big deal. To be fair, I'd probably done that for Sweetman anyway, because he is such a good friend, but the fact that Dan was there was like, yeah, there's no question, I gotta. I even had things I needed to do the following day, but I was like, I can't just not, right? I can't not go. Not just from a personal obligation standpoint, but emotionally, in my soul, in my heart, deep in my feelings, I had to go. I couldn't not go. So they went off to do their thing. I ran inside, got dressed, ran out, and we went to Sweetman's. And we got a bunch of beers in, and we got some food. Dan's a chef, so he whipped us up some really nice food. And we played what might be one of, if not the greatest couch co-op games of all time. And this, in fact, brings me to today's discussion. And that is EDF, or Earth Defense Force. Earth Defense Force. Now, I'm curious as to how many people are actually aware of this game, because it's kind of popular, but also not. Definitely popular on the internet, but you won't be seeing ads for it on like TV or anything, because it's not like AAA. But it is a surprisingly successful gaming series that has been going on for years, since the PS2, since like 2003, I think, and is still going strong today. But we had drinks, we had food, we played EDF till 4 a.m, and it was a great time. But for those of you who don't know, I should explain what EDF even is. Earth Defense Force is a game from Japan. I don't know the publisher or developer, I can't remember right now, where you fight aliens, and it's like a B movie, and like the animations are terrible and the graphics are kind of meh, although every year they do, not every year, but every release, because there have been many, they do slight improvements, you know, and they just touch up the graphics a little bit to make it look nice, to keep it relevant, as it were. And I have to say, we were playing Earth Defense Force Shadow of New Despair, And the lighting in that game is exceptional when there are big explosions. Like, shockingly exceptional. Like, there's the light and the dark, and it reflects off your characters and all the vehicles and stuff. It's crazy. But this is basically a third-person shooter where you fight aliens. You have 4 different classes to choose from. Your standard ranger, who is just soldier boy. Not literally soldier boy, but a soldier. Thought that'd be brilliant. You get wing divers, who are like these female soldiers who use jetpacks and stuff and glide, and they fly around the battlefield. You get air raiders, who deploy turrets and fix tanks and stuff. And you get fencers, who are big boys in big mech suits with Gatling guns and big hammers. The plot is bare bones and stupid. The voice acting is terrible. The game, and indeed the games, I suppose, talking about all of them, suck. Objectively speaking, like looking at it from your critical game reviewer perspective, these games blow, and they blow hard. But they are also some of the best games I've ever played, and some of my most enjoyable, honest to God, unrivaled enjoyable experiences from these games. So like other games don't come close in many respects. And as a couch, I don't know if I'd play it single player. I don't think the game would be as fun if you played it single player. But as a couch co-op experience, oh God, it is the best. It is the best. It is top tier. It is S tier. You play that game with food and beer and friends. And bearing in mind, it's 2-player couch co-op and there's 3 of us, so you just switch off the controller after each mission or whatever. And it is exceptional. There's something about EDF, and I can't quite... There's no single thing to pin down about EDF that makes it great. It's just an exceptional experience. It's funny. It's cathartic. You got your shoot bang experience. You're just shooting a bunch of giant alien bugs, and you're doing it over and over again. But even that becomes weirdly focused and tactical and sway after a while. Like the first few missions, you're just kind of shooting through aliens, and you're like, oh yeah, this game, man, this game. And you're having a few drinks and you're having a good time. And then as it progresses, it gets a little harder, and you're like, all right, we're focusing a little bit now. And this all culminates in playing the game at like 2 o'clock in the morning, where you're like, okay, so there's a bunch of tarantulas over there, so I need you to set up over here with your sniper rifle and start picking them off. I'll stand in front, I'm the fencer with my Gatling guns, and I'll try and keep the numbers down. I'll try and absorb the hits. I need you to take out that thing. All right, they're coming from that way. Our troops are dying, so we really got to pull it out. Hopefully we're going to make it through. It becomes extremely Spec Ops tactical, which is absurd because the game is dumb. The game is dumb. The game is really dumb. Now, I haven't played, there's a newest one, isn't there? Like Iron Dawn or something. I can't remember the specific name. But there was like the latest one. And we watched some trailers of that the following morning, and that game looks intensely amazing. It looks insane. It looks like everything I could have ever wanted from EDF. But EDF is where friendships are solidified, not made. You could make a friendship, I think. If there was someone you wanted to be friends with and you were just like, yo, let's get some drinks and play EDF, we'll be friends by the end of it. You could do that. But I would say EDF is where you solidify a friendship. Me, Pippin and Craig, 2 of my other friends, we used to play EDF consistently. We would play, in fact, until 2 or 4 in the morning with drinks and food, and we would play endlessly. It is that kind of game. You can just do it. It's an insane game. It's ridiculous. There are giant ants. There are giant spiders. 2 varieties. You'd think I'd be terrified of them, but no, because the graphics and animations are kind of stupid. But the developers of EDF understand. That's the key point. The developers of EDF understand why their game rules, and that's because it sucks. And they're like, people want to sit down and play this with their friends and just drink beer and play it. This is silly nonsense. And that is exactly what people want. If we tried to make this a serious, competitive, tactical third-person shooter, people would not want to play it. And the thing is, it's not even as if it's that simple or bare bones. It's quite a complex game in some ways. There are a lot of different weapon choices. Different loadouts suit different situations. You kind of have to address how you're going to fight your enemy, because you start a mission and there is like literally 200 bus-sized red ants skittering towards you over the horizon, and you have to sort of figure out how you're going to deal with that, because it's 200 bus-sized red ants. And And it's, aside from being visually impressive and intimidating, that's a challenge. That's a real challenge. And you get like tunnel missions where you're literally going through tunnels fighting them. And that changes everything as well. A sniper rifle's not going to be very good here. Maybe a shotgun. But you have to consider, like, is this a good shotgun for this circumstance? Because maybe the reload rate isn't very good. Maybe it needs more fire rate. Maybe it's not a strong enough shotgun. And you have to take into consideration when you're doing a mission, like, I need to pick up these armor and weapon pickups because armor increases your max health throughout the entire game. Every time you pick up an armor pickup, that increases your max health permanently. So you need those, and the weapon pickups so you can get new weapons, and the difficulty you play on affects what weapons you get. Higher difficulties reward you with stronger weapons. So the game is exceptionally balanced as well, but also allows you to become a death-dealing god of destruction if you get the right weapons and know what you're doing. And on the other end of the spectrum, I play Fencer, who is the big mech guy, and to be completely honest, I wouldn't say the Fencer is a particularly good class. I think it is meant for intermediate players, and indeed, after we played it for a while, I was a lot better at it, and I was able to sort of fill a role with the Fencer. But the Fencer is difficult to use, but there is something about having a Gatling gun fixed to each arm and just letting loose. The game knows how to make that satisfying as well. And when you have the stupid plot going on in the background, which is great because you don't need to pay attention to it, because at the end of the day, the game is just shoot the aliens, shoot the aliens, shoot the aliens. Different contexts, different scenarios, sure, but shoot the aliens. You're not picking up objective items, you're not activating certain things to make things happen, you're not escorting things or protecting things or defending things. No, you're just shooting the aliens. That's it. There's nothing else. Just shoot the aliens. And sometimes there are new aliens, and then Godzilla shows up. Not literally Godzilla, because they probably didn't have the rights, but for all intents and purposes, trademark-free, Godzilla shows up, and you're like, it's fucking Godzilla over there. But there's still ants coming at me, and the ships are dropping off more ants, and there's a giant spider who set up a web across an entire, like, block of the city. This is going to come across as such a fucking fever dream, and that's because it is, and that's because EDF is a fever dream. EDF is pure nonsense. It is ridiculous, stupid, borderline pointless nonsense, and it is one of the best games I've ever played. Any of the EDFs I've played. The original EDF on Xbox 360, Sweetman Swears by Global Defense Force, which was the PS2 version, which came out before EDF, it was GDF back then. Insect Armageddon was fantastic. I think Shadow of New Despair is probably my favorite because it is basically just the original but better. So far, bearing in mind I haven't played the newer ones, so far, definitely Shadow of New Despair. But the game doesn't try and tell you how to play. The game doesn't try and tell you how to have fun. The game gives you a game and says, have fun. Play it. You can play it for 5 minutes, you can play it for 7 hours. Who cares? We'll give you tips in the menu, sure, like, armor increases your max health, or watch out for these giant spiders, they're pretty scary. But the game doesn't tell you, like, you should definitely equip sniper rifles for this one. You have to equip a sniper rifle for this one. This one, you need explosives. You have to have explosives. Okay, you need to stop what you're doing and get to this objective point. No. In missions, the people talking will be like, all right, move up with the tanks, use the tanks for cover. You don't have to fucking do that. It's advised, it's advisable, it's probably a good idea, but you don't have to do that. You can charge ahead, or you can stay back, let them die and snipe. Or any combination of these things. The game lets you do whatever the fuck you want to complete the mission. And if you don't complete the mission, try again. Well, fuck it hasn't cost you anything except time, but it's a video game. It's a time investment in of itself, and you enjoy the time you spend on it. Just play the game. Just play it. There are better ways to go about certain things, sure, but we're not going to force you to do it, and we're probably not going to tell you what they are. Figure it out. Play the game. And furthermore, right, because I've spoken previously about my feelings on difficulty in video games, how I love a challenge, but I definitely do feel there should be easier options because not everyone wants to stress themselves trying to beat something. And EDF has you covered because it has, let me just do the mental maths. Easiest, easy, normal, hard, hardest, inferno. The game has 6 difficulty settings, ranging from impossible to crushingly easy, which means if you're someone who doesn't really play games or you're not good at it, you can still play it. You can still have fun. Just slap it on easiest and you get the same experience. You shoot the bugs, you get the weapons, you get to experience the stupid plot. You see ants being airdropped from the sky, giant ants airdropped from the sky, and you get the stupid guns, and you get the stupid voice lines, and you get to hang around with the troops who are singing battle cries and chanting EDF as you charge into inevitable slaughter. It is so good. That, I think, is the most interesting thing about EDF, is that the developers get it. It's so fucking rare to see a developer who actually understands why people like their game and focuses on that. It's so rare. I don't know if it's that rare, actually. Maybe there are more examples, but it's rare enough that it is noticeable and appreciated. Because EDF on the 360, I think, sold quite well. You know, a bit of a cult hit. It definitely wasn't mainstream success, but it did well. They had the capacity to turn their janky-ass PS2 game on the 360, even though they actually did make a PS2 game. Trust me, if you look through all the games, they look exactly the same, so they aren't doing much. But they could have taken their janky-ass 360 game and turned it into something competitive. As in, something like Uncharted, with all of the realistic movements and graphics and set pieces. And I'm not slagging off Uncharted here. Uncharted is a different experience, and I'm not implying that Uncharted is any lesser for it. I'm just saying EDF could have done that. They probably had the money where, sure, it wouldn't have looked as good as Uncharted. It wouldn't have been as tight in its controls. It wouldn't have been the same. It wouldn't have been up to the same level, but they could have moved in that direction and improved the game in that respect. But the developers were like, no, because that's not what people want from this. People don't want that from EDF. They want the ability to spam roll away from giant ants. They want the ability to accidentally explode themselves with a grenade whose throw radius is 0.5 meters. They want a missile launcher, a handheld missile launcher that launches an honest-to-God nuke. Literally a handheld war crime because you're fighting giant insects, so who cares? Go for it. They know, they get it, they understand, and that's why EDF has remained so fucking good despite the amount of games they've made, because they've actually done very little. Because, you know, it ain't broke, don't fix it, just polish it, clean it, spruce it up a little bit, you know? And now, I don't know if I necessarily encourage developers to not innovate, because, you know, innovation is necessary for the progression of games as a medium, and indeed this applies to many industries, but EDF. Oh, no, actually, yeah, no, because they have innovated, because, what is it, Iron Dawn, Steel Dawn, the one, most recent one? That has stuff in it. They innovated for that one. They definitely innovated. We watched, like, a little bit of gameplay. The classes are wildly different. The visuals of some of the visuals have changed, like the appearance of the soldiers has changed. They've introduced lots of new insects while also keeping the classic big ones. It's unfair to say, actually, that EDF doesn't innovate, because it does. It just did small innovations and then did big ones. But they still, I mean, I can't speak for Steel Dawn. Like I said, I haven't played it. But for everyone I have played, which I guess was the original Insect Armageddon and Shadow of New Despair, they get it. They understand. They know what their players want to play. They know what their players enjoy. Right down to the voice acting. The voice acting has not changed in however many years, and it is perfect. Because everyone is so earnest and so bad at it. But I get the impression it's intentionally bad. You know, they're hamming it up. It's a B movie. Not the B movie, a B movie. It's supposed to be the aliens are attacking. Oh no! It's supposed to be like that. But the soldiers are like, there's too many of them! As they die. And it's supposed to be stupid. It's supposed to be dumb. It is 100% intentional. If you played the first EDF, you might have wondered if it was on purpose. By Shadow of New Despair, or indeed by Insect Armageddon, you're like, yeah, no, this is intentional and they know what they were doing. Me and Pippin have a line from the original EDF, and it is our favorite I mean, I can't speak for him because I haven't spoken to him about this in a while, but it is our favorite video game line in any game ever. And I'm gonna actually, I wonder if I could actually find it online. I might try and edit it in. I don't know. If I did, it would have been edited in there. If not, it's in the first mission of EDF, the original one. And it's like when you first discover the ants and everyone's like, holy shit, there are giant bugs and they shoot acid. And one of the soldiers is like, it's melting my armor. Oh, it's like such a bad line. And it's like that last bit. I don't know. I don't think that's on purpose, but it takes such a turn. And it sounds clearly sexual and it's really funny. Oh, I can't make you appreciate EDF. I can't. No matter what I say, sitting here, I cannot make you appreciate EDF. The only way you can appreciate EDF is if you played it for yourself. And if you do, if listening to what I say now makes you think, man, this game sounds like a really good time, I should play it. Play it with a friend. Get a friend. I don't care. Drag someone in off the street. I don't give a fuck. Play it with a friend. Get some drinks in. If you don't drink, fine. Get a bunch of soft drinks in. Get a bunch of food, snack food. Be as much, go as gremlin as you can in your, create a little space with just fucking junk food everywhere and drinks, regardless what kinds you happen to prefer, just scattered all over the place. And you've got like, you all got like blankets and you're all cozy on the sofa and just play EDF. And you'll love it. You will love it. And if you don't love it, then I'm sorry. I really thought you would, because I can't imagine not loving EDF. It is so incredible. I don't think I have done a Foreman Talks about one specific game yet. Yeah, I did Bloodborne bosses, but that's a little different. I've never just sat here and told you to play a game and have that be the whole Foreman Talks. But today is that day. Play EDF. It is so... it's so bad, it's so good. It's so amazing how awful it is, and it's so great. It is... and that's the thing though, right? The whole so bad it's good. This is intentional so bad it's good, and that means it's carefully crafted so bad it's good. Maybe the original EDF was not. Maybe the original EDF was a mistake. I don't know. A fortunate mistake that happened to work out. I don't know. I don't fucking work there, and I haven't spoken to them. I can't say. But from that point onwards, like I said, they knew what they were doing, and now every game is a carefully crafted garbage pile masterpiece. And the voice acting, like I said, is perfect. If it was any better, it would be terrible. If it was great, it would suck. Everything about EDF comes together. It is so much more than the sum of its parts. This is like the definition of that phrase. This is putting together a bunch of pebbles and rocks and broken bricks and ending up with a castle. It is throwing together a handful of flour, some eggshells, and an onion, and getting like the world's greatest omelet. It's magnificent, and oh god, I don't know how to talk about it any more than I have. I don't know how to describe it. It's chef's kiss. Literally chef's kiss, just mwah. Unparalleled in its magnificence, unmatched in its awfulness. No one has done anything like it before, and I really doubt anyone will do anything like it after this fact. Yeah, people might decide to make games that are so terrible that they're good, and they might do well. And you know what? I hope they do, but they will never make EDF. No one will ever make EDF other than the people who make EDF, because the people who make EDF know how to make it. They have a carefully guarded recipe. This is like the Krabby Patty secret formula they've got locked in a vault, and it's just a list of instructions on how to make EDF. And all it is just big bug go burr and roll a bunch. There's just 2 bullet points on there that is the entire instructions for creating EDF games. And you know what? It works. Definitely works. It definitely works. The amount of weapons you can get are absurd. And yeah, maybe they don't vary much because it's divided between, like, you know, shotgun, assault rifle, sniper rifle, rocket launcher, etc., etc. But like in Shadow of New Despair, having the 4 classes does so much to add replay value to that game, because you can play around with all these different classes and try different ways of fighting, and they do play differently. The Fencer is so fucking slow. Oh my god, the Fencer is slow, but if you equip a melee weapon, suddenly you're doing Dark Souls Bloodborne dashes all over the place. I'd say more Bloodborne, because you don't roll in the Fencer, you dash. So you're doing Bloodborne dashes with a giant anime mecha sword that you're slashing at things with, and then you're like, oh well, they're pretty far away, so you switch to your Gatling guns and go for it, or you have a shoulder mounted missile launcher, or it is a surprisingly good anime mecha game, despite that not being the focus and that not being what the game is, just by playing that class. And you get to fight giant bugs, and you just get to go ham. This is going to be my shortest Foreman Talks, because I have already ran this into the ground, and I have nothing more to say. It is a phenomenal game. It is an exceptional game. It is worth your fucking money if you have the money. And more, I guess more to the point, because, you know, it's all COVID-y at the moment. It's a little difficult to get people to see people in person sometimes. So I would say, if you have people who you can play with in person, EDF is worth your time. Be like, guys, guy, girl, fella, friend, folk, whoever, however many people, doesn't matter. I've got the best video game. You're gonna come around mine, or I'm gonna go around yours, and we're gonna play it, and everyone is going to have a great time. And it was recommended by Foreman, or Foreman Plays Stuff, whom you should go look at his channel and subscribe to, because he's so smart and handsome. And I'll be like, I've done my job. Damn, I've done my job. I have done what I set out to do when I created this channel, which is get people to talk about gaming soundtracks and to play EDF. Those are literally my 2 objectives as a gaming-based content creator. That's all I want. Mostly. Darkest Dungeon and Bloodborne are pretty important to me, actually. I want to spread the word about them too. But those 2 are the most important. The gaming soundtracks and the EDF, very important. But I've truly got nothing more to say. I've devolved into insane rambling. It's time to end for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening. This was some stupid nonsense. This was incoherent rambling. This was a fever dream, but I had to talk about EDF, and I had to talk about what a lovely experience I had hanging out with my friends, Sweetman and Dan, who, you know, I don't see Sweetman as often as I'd like to because life, and Dan lives miles and miles and miles away now, so I rarely ever see him. So that was such a wonderful experience. I really enjoyed, and I just had to come on here and start gushing about it, and then disguise that as being a video about EDF. I'm kidding, actually. This was a video about EDF. That was the intention, but all of this came together for me to be such a wonderfully enjoyable experience, and I think you could also have similarly enjoyable experiences if you give the game a try. But I shouldn't be shilling this hard, because they aren't fucking sponsoring me, and they never will, because they don't need my help to sell games, because their game's fucking sick, and they can do it by themselves. So let's end for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really pulled this topic out of my ass. I'm lucky what happened this week actually happened this week, because I had nothing in mind and I was panicking slightly. I don't get that stressed over it, but I do feel a little bit of urgency where I'm like, I really need to think of a topic to talk about this week, because I do kind of do this thing. And like, if I don't do this, I'll just have to do a normal video on Sunday, which will be a lot more work, which means I don't get any time to rest this week, which would be a huge downer. Whatever. But I don't know what I'm going to talk about next time. If you have suggestions for topics, if there are things you want to hear me talk about, please let me know. But whatever happens next time, hope I see you there. Toodles. Goodbye.